My mom said I wasn't welcome on New Year's Eve. My sister's new husband thought I'd ruin the vibe. I said nothing. The next morning, he walked into my office, saw me, and started yelling because I was halfway through signing a commercial acquisition contract worth $47 million when my phone buzzed. The message was from Mom. Marcus, don't come to New Year's Eve this year. Tyler thinks you bring tension to family gatherings. It's better if you sit this one out. Sorry, honey. Love you. I stared at the screen, read it twice, let the words sink in. Tyler, my sister's husband of 3 months. He'd been to exactly 2 family dinners, knew me for maybe 6 hours total across both events. Yet somehow he'd decided I was the problem, the tension, the element that needed removing. I capped my Mont Blanc pen, placed the phone face down on my desk, looked across at my assistant. Jenna, clear the rest of my afternoon. But the Riverside closing is at, move it to tomorrow. I need to think. She left without another word. She'd worked for me for 4 years. She knew when I'd made a decision. Because here's the thing about me. When people push me out, I don't scream. I don't argue. I don't beg to be included. I move. I strategize. I win. My name is Marcus Hayes. I'm 31 years old, Director of Commercial Operations at Falcon Ridge Real Estate Group, one of the largest commercial property firms in the Southwest. I manage a portfolio worth over $540 million. My signature moves literal mountains, or at least the buildings on top of them, but nobody in my family knows that. To them, I'm Marcus the property guy, the one who works in real estate. They think I drive a beat-up sedan and host open houses on Sunday afternoons for starter homes in mediocre suburbs. I stopped correcting them 6 years ago, not out of some misguided humility, not because I was embarrassed, but because watching people reveal who they really are when they think you're beneath them is more valuable than any resume ever could be. My sister Brittany was always the golden child. Perfect SAT scores, full ride to UC Davis, marketing degree, married her college boyfriend at 24, divorced him at 27, remarried Tyler, a regional sales manager at a mid-tier pharmaceutical company, 3 months ago. Brittany made good choices, conventional choices, the kind Mom could brag about at book club. I was structural support, necessary but invisible. The brother who showed up to events, smiled in photos, and never competed for attention. And Tyler was a different species entirely. He was the guy who bragged about promotions that were really lateral moves with fancier titles, who talked about his investment portfolio that was actually a 401k he didn't understand, who needed to be the most successful person in every room, and if he wasn't, he'd reframe the conversation until he was. He'd sensed my indifference to his posturing during Thanksgiving dinner, labeled my silence as tension, convinced Brittany I was jealous of their success, worked on Mom until she agreed that excluding me was keeping the peace. Now I was too difficult to sit at the same table. I wasn't angry. I was finished. I stayed at the office until 11:47 p.m. that night, finalized project numbers for the Riverside development, ran financial simulations for the industrial park acquisition, reviewed contractor bids for the downtown renovation. The numbers didn't care about my tone. They didn't care about family politics. They only cared about truth, and the truth was simple. If Tyler didn't want me at New Year's Eve, fine. He had no idea he was uninviting the only person who could actually afford the house they'd be eating in. The next morning started like any other weekday. I arrived at 6:45 a.m., black coffee, Wall Street Journal, emails from 3 time zones. By 8:30 a.m., the office was chaos, the good kind. Phones ringing, architects waiting for final approvals, legal team reviewing contract amendments, my executive assistant coordinating with 4 different project managers simultaneously. I was in my element. My office occupied the northwest corner of the 17th floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, glass walls separating me from the main floor, 47 people working under my direct supervision. The Falcon Ridge logo dominated the wall behind my desk in brushed steel letters 3 feet tall. I was reviewing zoning variance documents when Jenna knocked. Marcus, the contractor for Skyline, is running late on the foundation inspection. She stopped dead, eyes wide. I looked up. What? She pointed behind me. I turned. Standing in my glass doorway, looking like he'd stumbled into an alternate dimension, was Tyler. He wore a cheap suit, probably Joe's. A-Bank, off the rack, face flushed, sweat beading on his upper lip, eyes darting between me, the Skyline view behind me, the logo, the staff beyond the glass walls. His mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. He stammered. What is this? I leaned back in my leather chair, folded my hands, kept my voice calm, terrifyingly calm. Good morning, Tyler. You work here? His voice cracked. Rose. What are you, like, the receptionist? Office manager? I raised an eyebrow. I oversee 3 commercial divisions: acquisition, development, and asset management. Roughly $540 million in active projects. So yes, you could say I work here. Why are you here? He gripped the doorframe. Looked like he might be sick. I came because I have a meeting, an investment meeting, with someone named Sodi. He pulled out his phone, scrolled with shaking fingers. Someone named M. Hayes. I thought Brittany said her brother worked in real estate, that maybe you could get me in touch with a loan officer for our house flip, but I thought you did like rentals or something. There it was. Reality hitting him like a freight train at full speed. I stayed perfectly still, watched him vibrate with panic. You told my mother, I said said evenly, each word precise, that I shouldn't come to New Year's Eve because I bring tension and ruin the vibe, correct? His face drained of color, went from flushed to bone white in under 3 seconds. Marcus, I didn't know. Didn't know what? I let the question hang. That I had a job? That I wasn't some failure you could push aside to make yourself shine brighter? He couldn't stop staring at the glass wall behind me, at the 47 employees working, at the project managers waiting in the conference room, at the reality he'd completely miscalculated. I watched his ego crumble in real time. Why didn't you tell anyone? He managed. Why didn't you say you were this? I gave him the coldest smile I'd ever produced. No one asked. Let me back up. 6 years ago, I graduated with dual degrees in finance and urban planning. I was recruited by 3 firms, took the job at Falcon Ridge because they offered the best trajectory, not the best starting salary, but the clearest path to actual power. I was 25, single, no debt, no distractions. I worked 100-hour weeks, learned commercial real estate from the inside out, memorized zoning codes, studied market analytics, built relationships with city planners, contractors, investors. I made junior director at 27, full director at 29. My starting salary was $84,000. My current base salary is $240,000. My annual bonus last year was $310,000. I have equity stakes in 4 major projects. My net worth is roughly $8 million. I drive a 2019 Toyota Camry. I live in a modest 2-bedroom condo. I wear suits from Nordstrom Rack. I eat lunch at my desk because I learned early that wealth isn't about appearance. It's about options. And I never told my family any of this because they never asked. Brittany asked what I did. I said commercial real estate. She heard selling houses. Never followed up. Mom asked if I was doing okay. I said fine. She assumed that meant barely getting by. Dad, before he passed 4 years ago, was the only one who knew the truth. He'd worked construction his whole life, understood the industry, saw my business card once and whistled low. You made it, son. Don't let them make you small. I didn't. But I also didn't advertise. When Tyler walked into my office that morning, he wasn't just surprised. He was devastated because his entire identity was built on being the success story. The son-in-law who'd saved Brittany from her unsuccessful first marriage. The man who'd brought stability and ambition to a family that, in his mind, desperately needed both. And now he was standing in front of the one person he'd dismissed as irrelevant, realizing that person controlled more money in a single quarterly meeting than Tyler would see in his entire career. Should I call security? Jenna whispered from the doorway. I waved her off. Tyler's not a threat. He's just severely underestimated the room. Tyler found his voice. I came because we need help. Brittany and I are buying an investment property, a house flip. We need a loan. The banks are difficult. Brittany said maybe you knew someone in real estate finance who could help us. I stared at him. Let me be clear, I said slowly. I don't mix family with business, ever. And I certainly don't help people who tried to erase me from family gatherings 24 hours ago. His jaw worked. No sound came out. But since you're here, I continued, standing up, walking around my desk to stand 3 feet from him. Let me explain something. The meeting you have scheduled, the one with M. Hayes, that's me. You submitted a commercial loan application 3 weeks ago through our subsidiary financing division. It crossed my desk for final approval yesterday afternoon. Tyler's eyes went wide. You're the one reviewing. I'm the one who decides whether your application moves forward. Yes. I picked up a folder from my desk, his name printed on the label. Tyler and Brittany Novak, $280,000 loan request for a residential flip property on Maple Avenue. Projected ROI of 18% over 6 months. That's our project, he whispered. Your income to debt ratio is borderline. Your credit score is adequate but not impressive. Your business plan is, I flipped through pages, optimistic. You're projecting a full renovation and resale in 6 months. Most flips in that neighborhood take 9 to 12 months and return 12% average. You've overestimated potential and underestimated timeline. We have a contractor. You have a quote from a contractor who's been cited for permit violations twice in the last 18 months. I checked. I closed the folder. Your application was going to be declined. Was. Past tense. Before you told my mother I wasn't welcome at family dinner, I set the folder back on my desk. Now it's definitely declined. Tyler's face went from white to crimson. You can't do this. You can't let personal issues. I'm not letting personal issues interfere. I'm making a sound business decision. Your application doesn't meet our lending criteria. That's standard practice. This is revenge. No, I said calmly. Revenge would be approving your loan, letting you overextend yourselves, then watching you default. This is mercy. He took a step toward me, fists clenched. Jenna's hand moved toward her phone. I didn't flinch. Think carefully, Tyler. You're in a corporate office. There are cameras, witnesses, security, and you're currently threatening the person who controls whether you get funding for your investment. How do you think this plays out? He froze. Then he screamed. Not words, just pure frustrated rage. 47 heads turned toward my office. Every person on the floor looked through the glass walls at Tyler losing control in front of the director. His face went from red to purple. You embarrassed me. I didn't move. No, Tyler. You embarrassed yourself the second you walked through that door thinking you were better than me. Silence. Heavy. Absolute. Here's what's going to happen, I said quietly. You're going to leave my office. You're going to leave this building, and you're never going to contact me for business purposes again. Are we clear? I'll tell Brittany. Tell her whatever you want. I'll tell her the truth, that you came here expecting a favor from someone you tried to exclude from family functions, that you underestimated me, that you made assumptions based on nothing but your own insecurity. Tyler's hands shook. Everyone's going to hear about this. Good. Make sure you tell them the whole story. He stood there, vibrating with humiliation and rage for another 10 seconds. Then he turned and walked out. The entire floor watched him go. When the elevator doors closed, the silence broke. Someone started clapping, then another person. Then the entire office erupted in applause. I waved them off, walked back to my desk. Jenna appeared in the doorway. That was intense. Mark the loan application as declined. Standard documentation. No personal notes. Already done. Good. I picked up my pen, went back to the zoning variance documents, like nothing had happened, but something had happened. Within 2 hours, I got 3 phone calls. First was Brittany. What the hell did you do to Tyler? He came to my office asking for a business favor. I explained why that wasn't possible. He said you humiliated him. He humiliated himself. I just happened to be there. Why didn't you ever tell us you had this job? You never asked. That's not fair. Fair? Brittany, your husband told Mom I wasn't welcome at New Year's Eve because I bring tension. He tried to push me out of our family. Then he showed up at my office expecting help with a loan. You want to talk about fair? Silence. I didn't know, she said finally. About the New Year's thing. Tyler said, he said you were uncomfortable with family gatherings, that you'd prefer to skip it. He lied. Marcus, did you know what I do for a living? You said real estate. Did you ask what that meant? What my title is? What I actually do every day? More silence. You assumed, I said. You all assumed. And when Tyler decided I wasn't worth having around, nobody questioned it. Nobody asked me. Nobody defended me. You just went along with it. That's not, we just wanted to avoid drama by excluding me. Yeah, I got the message. I paused. The loan application he submitted is denied. That's a business decision, not personal. But you should know, the project he's planning is poorly researched and underfunded. He's going to lose money if he pursues it without better planning. You're just saying that because you're angry. I'm saying it because I review commercial and residential development projects for a living. I know what works. His plan doesn't. I can't believe you're doing this to us. I'm not doing anything to you. I'm declining a bad loan application. If Tyler wants to take his business elsewhere, he's welcome to. But he's going to get the same answer from anyone who runs actual numbers. I hung up. Second call was Mom. Marcus, honey, Tyler came by. He's very upset. I imagine he is. He said you were cruel to him. I was honest. If that feels cruel, that's his problem. Why didn't you tell us about your job? Same reason I didn't correct you when you asked if I was doing okay financially and you assumed I was struggling. You never wanted to know the truth. You wanted to believe your narrative. That's not fair. Mom, let me ask you something. When was the last time you asked me about my work? When was the last time you asked how I'm doing beyond surface level pleasantries? When was the last time you defended me when someone in this family decided I was the problem? Silence. You uninvited me from New Year's Eve because Tyler, someone you've known for 3 months, decided I was bringing tension. You didn't ask me if that was true. You just accepted his version and told me to sit it out. I thought it would be easier. For who? For everyone. Not for me. She started crying. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did. And so did Brittany. And so did Tyler. Because none of you saw me as someone worth defending. You saw me as the easy person to cut out. What do you want me to do? Nothing. Just live with the truth. I'm not the person you thought I was. And you're not the family I thought you were. I hung up. Third call was from someone I didn't expect. Arthur Reeves, CEO of Falcon Ridge. My boss's boss's boss. Marcus, I heard you had an interesting morning. News travels fast? Glass offices. He chuckled. Security reviewed the footage. Your restraint was impressive. Most people would have lost their temper. Losing my temper wouldn't have accomplished anything. True. But I'm calling because I want to make sure you're comfortable with how this was handled. If there's any blowback, personal or professional, you let me know immediately. I appreciate that. You're one of my best directors. I'm not letting some family drama impact your career. Clear? Clear. Good, now get back to work. That Riverside closing needs your signature. He hung up. I sat there for a moment, processing. Then I went back to work. That night, I went home to my modest condo, microwaved leftover pasta, poured a bourbon, sat on my balcony overlooking the city. My phone buzzed constantly. Texts from Brittany, voicemails from Mom, nothing from Tyler. I ignored all of it. Because here's what I realized. I'd spent 6 years not correcting my family's assumptions because I wanted to see who they really were. And they'd shown me. I was valuable when they thought I might be useful. I was disposable when they thought I wasn't. The career, the title, the money, none of that should have mattered. But respect should have, and they'd given me none. 2 days later, I got an email from someone unexpected. My uncle Lawrence, Dad's younger brother. A civil engineer I'd always respected but rarely saw. Subject, your father would be proud. Marcus, your mother called me, told me what happened. Then she told me the truth about what you do for a living. I laughed for 5 minutes straight. Your father used to tell me you were going places, that you were smart enough to let people underestimate you, that you understood the difference between appearing successful and actually building success. He was right. I'm sorry your family didn't see it, but I see it, and I'm proud proud of you. If you ever need an engineer for one of your projects, you know who to call. Uncle Lawrence. I read it 3 times. Didn't respond. Didn't know what to say. Just saved it. Kept working. Christmas came and went. I didn't go to Mom's house. Didn't answer when Brittany called. Sent polite text messages saying I was busy with year-end closings. It wasn't entirely a lie. December was always chaos in commercial real estate, but mostly I just didn't want to be around people who'd proven they didn't value me. New Year's Eve arrived. I worked until 6 p.m., went home, ordered Chinese food, watched the countdown alone. When midnight struck, I raised a glass of champagne to myself, to knowing your worth. My phone stayed silent until 12:47 a.m. Then a text from Mom. We missed you tonight. It wasn't the same without you. I stared at it, didn't respond. Because we missed you isn't the same as we were wrong. January brought changes. The Riverside project closed. $47 million in funding secured. My bonus for the quarter was going to be substantial. I got promoted. Senior Director of Commercial Operations. Salary increased to $290,000 base. Corner office on the 18th floor. Staff of 63. Arthur shook my hand. You've earned this 10 times over. Thank you. Your family sorted out? Working on it. He nodded. Family's complicated, but don't let them dim your shine. You're too good at this. In February, I got another call from Brittany. Tyler and I are separating. I said nothing. Waited. He lied to me about a lot of things. His income, his debts, his plans. The house flip fell through. We're underwater on the property. The contractor bailed. We're looking at a $60,000 loss. I'm sorry. You tried to warn me. I did. I should have listened. Yes, you should have. Silence. Are we ever going to be okay? She asked. You and me? I don't know, I said honestly. You chose someone you'd known for months over someone you'd known your entire life. You didn't question his version, didn't defend me, didn't ask if I was okay. You just went along with cutting me out. I know. Knowing isn't fixing. What do I need to do? I don't know if there's anything you can do. Trust isn't something you rebuild overnight. She was quiet. Then, I'm sorry. Really, genuinely sorry. I was wrong. Tyler was wrong. Mom was wrong. And I'm sorry. It was the first real apology I'd gotten. Thank you, I said. Does that change anything? I don't know yet. By March, the dynamics had shifted. Mom called me, not to apologize for the exclusion, but to ask about tax advice, about retirement planning, about whether I knew any financial advisors. I gave her names, professional referrals, nothing personal. Brittany sent occasional texts, updates on the divorce, small talk about work, testing the waters. I responded, briefly, politely. Uncle Lawrence and I had lunch once a month, talked about projects, engineering, life, the conversations I wished I'd had with family all along. Tyler disappeared completely, blocked me on everything, moved to another city. Brittany said he'd taken a new job in Phoenix, starting over. Good riddance. 1 year after that morning in my office, I sat in a boardroom presenting a development proposal to City Council. $120 million mixed-use project. Residential, commercial, public spaces. 3 years of planning. Partnerships with 4 major firms. My biggest project to date. The vote passed unanimously. Afterward, the council president shook my hand. Impressive work, Director Hayes. This is going to transform the downtown corridor. That's the goal. As I walked out, I saw someone waiting in the lobby. Mom, what are you doing here? I asked. I wanted to see you present. Brittany told me when the meeting was. She looked nervous, older than I remembered. Marcus, I'm sorry, really sorry, for the New Year's thing, for not knowing who you were, for treating you like you didn't matter. I studied her face, saw genuine regret. Why now? I asked. Why apologize after a year? Because I finally understand what I lost. Not a son who's successful. A son, period. Someone who never asked for anything except to be seen. She wiped her eyes. And I didn't see you. I saw my version of you. And I'm sorry. I took a breath, let it out slowly. Thank you, I said, for saying that. Does it help? A little, maybe. Can we start over? I thought about that. About trust. About family. About whether some things can be rebuilt. We can try, I said. But things are different now. I'm different. This relationship, if we have one, it's on new terms. Equal terms. She nodded. I understand. Do you? Because if this is just about getting access to someone successful, it's not. I swear. I want my son back. The real one. Not the version I invented in my head. We stood there in the city hall lobby. People passing. Life continuing. Friday, I said finally. Dinner. Your choice of restaurant. We talk. Really talk. And we see what's possible. Her face lit up. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is going to be hard. I know. And if you ever pull something like the New Year's thing again, I won't. I promise. I nodded. Walked away. Didn't look back. That night, I sat in my new corner office on the 18th floor. City lights stretching to the horizon. 3 monitors displaying project timelines. Wall of achievement plaques I'd never shown anyone. I thought about the last year. About Tyler walking into my old office. About the look on his face when reality hit. About the family members who'd dismissed me and the ones who'd finally seen me. And I realized something. I didn't need them to see me succeed. I didn't need vindication or validation. I'd been successful the whole time. The only thing that changed was their awareness of it, and that was their loss, not mine. My name is Marcus Hayes. I'm 32 years old. I oversee $540 million in commercial real estate projects. My family spent years thinking I was barely getting by. They dismissed me, excluded me, treated me as expendable. Then one morning, my brother-in-law walked into my office expecting to see someone he could use, and found someone who controlled more than he ever would. I didn't gloat, didn't rub it in, didn't need to, because the truth did all the work for me. Some people measure success in titles and paychecks. I measure it in options. The option to say no to bad deals. The option to walk away from people who don't value me. The option to build something real instead of performing something fake. Tyler learned that the hard way. My family learned it eventually. And I learned the most important lesson of all. You don't owe anyone proof of your worth. You don't owe anyone access to your success. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the life you've built. You just build it. Quietly, deliberately, without needing applause. And when people who dismissed you finally realize what you are, you smile, nod politely, and go back to work. Because success isn't about being seen. It's about knowing, really knowing, that you never needed them to see you in the first place.